We're full service. We're a band from Austin, Texas. We tour the country on stages big and small. As you can see, we love performing. But we also love beer. So we found a way to combine these two passions. This is the story of our nationwide tour of breweries. First we perform, then we taste test. The full service Hoppin' Along tour. Join us.
We are at Duel Brewing in Santa Fe, New Mexico with Dan Corcoran, the brewer here. How'd I do?
Pretty good. I like that. Tell us a little bit about the signature stuff about this brewery.
Okay, so we're a Belgian-style brewery in New Mexico. We're the first of our kind here. We've been around for about 5 years, and we do all the way from table beers all the way up to this 13.4% Imperial Stout. It's a Belgian Imperial Stout. Very dark. It's called Goya. And
we are getting drunk.
very quickly. We pride ourselves in the really high, strong beers. We do big-bodied Belgian-style beers, and we're not hop-focused. We're malt-focused, and we love the good, strong beers. But it gets tricky, and now I go into the science a little bit.
Yeah.
The more
We need like a science
sugar
graph.
and the more alcohol you have, the more hard the yeast has to work to accomplish the goal of producing beer. So you can get around it a couple ways. Decent temperature control, using multiple strains of yeast that do different things well. Trappist yeast to produce the flavors that we want, and Scottish yeast to really drive down the residual sugars. In fact, Goya is fermenting in that tank right now.
Right now?
Right now.
So quietly?
So quietly. This is, we're like 6 days into that fermentation, and so now it's just gently working through the last little bit of the sugars.
How long is the full process of fermentation for this one?
To finish this guy off completely takes a month.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
But that's aging time. That's actually not a long time for a beer this big.
We are so we don't know.
I mean,
Only a month. Just keep drinking. Eventually you will.
But is fermentation a quiet process? It's just sitting there?
No, but the beginning of fermentation is fairly active. So we have these blow-off buckets, right? And the CO2 is being driven out. When yeast cleaves the glucose molecule into 2 ethanols, it also produces 2 carbon dioxide molecules, right? So,
Of course it does.
you learned that when you were studying bonobos, right?
Yeah.
When a beer doesn't get made that often, what you end up having is the opportunity to address it anew. Like, we want to make this beer, let's figure out how to make this beer again.
yeah.
That makes sense?
That does make sense. It reminds me of, sometimes I think about when we play shows, and it's like a song. Each night you get another chance.
Yeah.
And you can make small adjustments, and sometimes it improves it, sometimes it doesn't.
But you learn something every time you play it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the same thing with brewing beer.
So clearly we have a pretty awesome looking bottle here.
Sure.
This implies that there is some broader distribution here at Duel. Where can people get, Duel beers?
So we can be purchased, throughout the major metropolitan areas of New Mexico at the moment. We're going through the process of growth, and we will be distributing outside of the state soon.
So what we do with our, we have our own little rating system. Basically, we do like smell, look, feel, strength.
And this is where our inexpertise is really going to shine through.
That's fantastic.
Just try to keep a straight face. Don't.
No, look, the deal is like, you drink the beer that you like, and it's good because you like it, right?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, sometimes we'll play music we'll play a mix of a new song for somebody, and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm not a musician, I don't have a good ear." It's like, all you need is ears.
Yeah.
All you need is a tongue for this, and I guess other
Esophagus.
Start with smell. Smell does smell.
It's a smell.
It's got a really thick smell. Like if you took a delicious chocolate cake and smashed it into a freshly cut hay bale.
That's good.
I get like vanilla extract, like specifically like a concentrated vanilla smell in there. And it's like a similar look even to a vanilla extract. So like maybe
There's
my mind's
certainly
playing
vanilla in there. There's certainly chocolate in there. There's a lot of chocolate malt in it. So.
Sweet. Okay.
Belgium never had the German purity laws, obviously because
Reinheitsgebot?
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Who was talking about that?
We learned about stuff this
This guy Chad from Hanger, California.
Oh, nice.
California.
Yeah, Reinheitsgebot really like fucked up German brewing for a long time. Can I say that on this?
Yeah.
And now they're just like, they went out in like 1986 and they're still like trying to figure out how to brew with something other than malt, hops, yeast, and water. So
Yeah, man, I went to Germany like 3 years ago with my parents over Christmas, and everyone before I went was saying, "Oh man, you're a beer lover. You're gonna love it there." And I did not love it.
It's very bracketed. All the styles are very tight, very defined. And
I would go to the bar and they'd be like, light or dark.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get to choose what you're drinking. They just give it to you. Yeah, but the reason I brought that up is that Belgium is, it's a tiny landlocked country, right? And so they couldn't produce as much malt as they needed, and so they've started to ferment with other compounds, right? So there's a lot of brewing sugars in traditional Belgian beer. Traditionally, it's beet sugar there, and we brew with a lot of beet sugar and sugar, cane sugar.
Beet sugar is a drummer's favorite sugar.
Who's the drummer here?
The one that made that horrible joke.
We got to look with Weber over there.
You know what I need? Can you grab me a little bit more on that?
I mean, this is for sure the most opaque beer we've had on the tour. You still get a little bit of light coming through, or like on the edges of the glass, like a little reddish amber color.
It's like a nightmare in there.
It's deep.
It's like that level of darkness.
And what I really...
It's like a Goya painting.
Yeah.
I think I just got the name of this beer.
Yeah, me too.
My God.
The head is a really nice color too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like super creamy head on there. It's kind of like a chocolatey brown, like a Whopper. You guys ever heard of Whoppers, the malted milk balls?
Yeah, I remember
It
those.
looks like the same color as a Whopper.
So my department is strength. We already know this one is a 13.4, so it's going to be more than that. And I rate mine not by numbers, but by a heavy metal scale. Now, I think Black Sabbath is where this has to be.
Yeah!
Like
Definitely Sabbath.
definitely like War Pigs, Black Sabbath, because they have that really heavy, dark, sludgy, like sludge before sludge was a word for metal.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to Black Sabbath.
The Sabbath.
To Sabbath.
Moving on to our last category here is feel with the master of feel, Hoagie here.
Well, I don't need to contemplate. I've had this in my head since I took my first sip. This reminds me of my Aunt Priscilla because she makes the best shoe fly pie, and this seems to go. This seems like it would go really well with the old Kepner family recipe of shoe fly pie because I think it would bring out the molasses notes. I've always wanted to say notes.
The last segment we do is we all think of what full service song would represent this beer. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Blast in the
Lands.
Top.
What?
What happened?
Wait.
You said Blasted Lands. I was gonna say Blasted Lands.
Why didn't you say it? Blasted
I
Lands.
don't know.
I actually thought Blasted Lands earlier too.
So you win. I mean, that's
All
good.
right. Blasted Lands has some similarities with some Black Sabbath, which is basically why I said it.
Okay.
It's in that if you're thinking like I said, War Pigs
Right.
and Blasted Lands, then the same key. They have a similar-ish riff. If we're talking in the line.
And it just fucking drives and drives and hammers and hammers.
Running through the blasted lands alone. Flat-tack friends will acting shy you go. Where are all my friends? Where did they go? Where'd I get these powers? I don't know. Not me!
Hey, one more cheers, Duel Brewing.
Bonus
We can't
song.
cheers without liquid in our glasses, Bone.
It's empty.
What's the fun part?
Yeah.
Your phone? No, dude. My phone? Oh, okay.
To Duel Brewing.
Thanks
From
again,
Santa
Duel
Fe.
Brewing.
Thank you, Duel.
Thank you guys.
Cheers.